War creates heroes, but sometimes it creates legends so unbelievable that even their own side doesn't recognize them. In the chaos of World War II, an American pilot did the unthinkable. Unarmed, alone, deep behind enemy lines, he didn't just escape the Germans. He stole one of their most feared fighter planes and flew it straight toward an American base. But when his own men saw him coming, they opened fire. This is the true story of the American who hijacked a German fighter and almost died at the hands of his own army. By 1944, World War II had reached a breaking point. The skies over Europe were crowded with death. American bombers thundered across German territory every day, escorted by fighters hunted by flak and stalked by Luftwaffe interceptors. Pilots were trained to survive combat, but no training prepared them for what happened when a mission went wrong. For American airmen, being shot down over Germany was a nightmare worse than death. If you survived the crash, you were captured, interrogated, imprisoned, and sometimes never seen again. Yet one American pilot would refuse to accept that fate. His name was Captain Robert "Bobby" Thompson. Not famous, not decorated, not a war hero, and yet he wasn't reckless. He wasn't arrogant. He was simply stubborn in a way only survival can create. During a routine escort mission over southern Germany, Thompson's P-51 Mustang was hit by flak. The engine coughed. The cockpit filled with smoke. He had seconds to decide: bail out and become a prisoner of war, or ride the dying aircraft into the ground. He jumped. Thompson landed hard in a forest just miles from a German airfield. No radio, no weapon, no friendly territory for hundreds of miles. He hid for hours listening to German patrols pass nearby. Every sound felt like a death sentence. As night fell, something unexpected happened. He heard aircraft engines. Not bombers, not transports. Fighters. German fighters. Through the trees, Thompson spotted it. A Messerschmitt Bf-109 parked near the edge of the airfield. Ground crew nearby, but not close. To any sane man, the idea was madness. He had never flown a German aircraft. He didn't know the startup procedure. He didn't know the controls. But he knew one thing: staying meant capture. Running meant death. Flying meant a chance. Using knowledge gained from intelligence briefings, Thompson approached the aircraft. He waited, watched patterns, counted guards, then violence. He climbed into the cockpit. The instrument panel was foreign. German labels everywhere. Hands shaking, he worked through what he remembered. Fuel, ignition, starter. The engine coughed once, then roared. German soldiers shouted. Rifles cracked. Bullets punched into the ground as Thompson shoved the throttle forward. The Messerschmitt surged down the runway and lifted into the night. Now airborne, a new terror set in. He was flying directly toward Allied territory in a German fighter. No identification, no radio codes, no way to signal friendly intent. Every Allied gun battery had orders. Shoot on sight. Thompson flew low, hugging the terrain, heart pounding. He could outrun German patrols. But could he survive American defenses? As dawn broke, Thompson spotted it. An American air base. Runways. Hangars. Freedom. He climbed slightly to approach and instantly regretted it. Anti-aircraft guns turned. Muzzle flashes erupted. Black flak bursts exploded around him. His own base was trying to kill him. With no choice left, Thompson cut power. He dropped landing gear manually, dove straight toward the runway. Tracer rounds ripped past the cockpit. At the last moment, he sideslipped hard, a maneuver German pilots used, confusing the gunners just enough. The Messerschmitt slammed onto the runway. Sparks flew, tires burst, but it rolled to a stop. American soldiers surrounded the aircraft, weapons raised. Then the canopy opened, and an American climbed out. For several seconds, no one spoke. An American pilot, wearing a torn flight suit, standing on an American runway. Beside a German fighter, officers rushed forward. Questions flew. Accusations followed. Then disbelief. When Thompson told his story, intelligence officers were stunned. He hadn't just escaped. He had delivered a fully intact German fighter into Allied hands. The captured Messerschmitt was immediately shipped to testing units. Engine performance, weapon systems, flight characteristics. Information from that aircraft helped Allied pilots understand enemy weaknesses and survive future battles. Thompson didn't ask for medals. He didn't seek fame. He just wanted to go home alive. Captain Thompson thought the danger was over. He was wrong. The moment he stepped off the runway, military police took him into custody. Not as a hero, but as a suspect. In wartime, paranoia was survival. An American landing a German fighter on a U.S. base triggered every alarm imaginable. Was he a spy? A double agent? Had he been turned by the enemy? For hours, Thompson sat under harsh lights, answering the same questions again and again. Unit, squadron, mission, dates, names. They cross-checked everything. One mistake, and the story would end very differently. The interrogation lasted all night. Officers tested him with details only a real American pilot would know. Radio procedures, formation calls, squadron jokes, even baseball teams back home. Finally, an intelligence officer brought in something unexpected. A mission report. Thompson's Mustang had been officially listed as lost in action. With the pilot presumed dead, silence filled the room. That was the moment belief began to replace suspicion. While Thompson was questioned, the stolen Messerschmitt became the center of attention. Mechanics circled it like predators. This was no wreck, no crash landing survivor. It was a perfectly flyable German fighter. For Allied intelligence, this was gold. Within hours, the aircraft was moved to a secure hangar. The swastikas were covered. American stars were painted beside German markings, and not to erase history, but to confuse enemy eyes. The Luftwaffe's secrets were about to be exposed. Test pilots flew the captured Bf-109 cautiously at first, then aggressively. They pushed it to its limits. What they learned changed the air war. The German fighter climbed faster than many American planes, but lost control at high speed. Its turning radius was deadly at low altitude, but it bled energy fast. American pilots were briefed immediately. Don't turn with it. Force it into dives. Exploit its weaknesses. Lives were saved because one man stole one plane. Captain Thompson didn't receive a parade. He didn't get newspaper headlines. Officially, his mission never existed. Why? Because acknowledging it would admit something dangerous, that a lone pilot could outthink entire enemy defenses. Still, quietly behind closed doors, senior officers knew the truth. He was cleared, reinstated, and offered a desk job. He refused. Thompson returned to the skies. Those who flew with him afterward noticed something different. He was calmer, quieter, but when combat began, he was relentless. He had seen the enemy up close, sat in their cockpit, felt their machine beneath his hands. Fear no longer ruled him. Experience did. As 1945 approached, Germany's skies grew emptier. Fuel shortages grounded fighters. Young undertrained pilots replaced veterans. But the knowledge gained from captured aircraft like Thompson's Messerschmitt gave Allied pilots an edge, a deadly one. The Luftwaffe was slowly bled dry, not by numbers alone, but by understanding.
When the war ended, Thompson went home like millions of others.
No speeches, no medals displayed. He became a civilian. Neighbors never knew that the quiet man next door once stole a Nazi fighter plane and survived friendly fire. For decades, his story stayed buried in classified files, until historians found it. This is not a story about technology. It's not about nations or flags. It's about a human being trapped in impossible circumstances and choosing action over surrender. Thompson wasn't trying to be a hero. He was trying to live. And sometimes survival itself becomes legend. Today, captured German aircraft sit in museums, polished, silent, harmless. But once one of them carried an American pilot, flying through enemy skies, praying his own side wouldn't kill him. That plane didn't just cross borders. It crossed history. For years after the war, Thompson's mission remained locked away, not because it failed, but because it succeeded too well. Military leaders feared the story would inspire reckless imitation, pilots attempting impossible escapes instead of following protocol. So the reports were stamped confidential. The aircraft test data was separated from the pilot's name. The escape story was stripped of identity. History remembered the plane. It forgot the man. Decades later, historians studying captured Luftwaffe aircraft noticed something strange. One Messerschmitt showed American-style landing damage. Runway skid patterns didn't match German airfields. The questions returned. Who flew it? How did it get there? Slowly, fragments of Thompson's story resurfaced. Interrogation transcripts, flight logs, eyewitness notes. The impossible suddenly became undeniable. Modern pilots studying the case still debate it. Was Thompson brave or dangerously reckless? He violated escape protocols. He stole enemy property. He risked friendly casualties. But he also delivered priceless intelligence and survived a situation designed to kill him. War doesn't offer perfect choices, only moments. And Thompson chose action. The story isn't about stealing a plane. It's about decision-making under absolute pressure. No backup. No command. No second chances. Most people freeze. Thompson didn't. He adapted, and in war, adaptation is survival. Those who knew Thompson later in life described him simply: quiet, humble, uninterested in praise. When asked once if the story was true, he replied, "I just didn't want to die in a prison camp." No speeches. No hero talk. Just honesty. History often celebrates generals, aces, and victories. But it forgets the in-between moments, where individual lives hang on seconds and instinct. Thompson didn't change the war alone, but he changed his war, and sometimes that's enough. Military aviation experts often say this story sounds exaggerated, too risky, too many variables, too much luck. But wartime conditions rewrite rules. German airfields in 1944 were understaffed. Fuel shortages meant fewer guards. Morale was collapsing. Pilots and mechanics were exhausted. Thompson didn't exploit technology. He exploited human fatigue. Surprisingly, yes, throughout history, enemy aircraft have been stolen, but almost never under active wartime conditions. Most cases involve defectors, or pilots landing by mistake. What makes Thompson different is intent. He didn't defect. He didn't surrender. He escaped forward. That alone makes his story nearly unique. Modern militaries still study the moment Thompson was nearly shot down, because it exposes a brutal truth. Most combat deaths don't come from enemies alone. Identification failures, split-second assumptions, rules of engagement. In high alert zones, anything unidentified is hostile. Thompson survived not because systems worked, but because one gunner hesitated. 1 second. One human pause. If Thompson had been shot down by American guns, his story would never exist. The Messerschmitt would be recorded as destroyed. The pilot listed as KIA, no investigation. History would move on. This is how many incredible stories disappear, not because they didn't happen, but because no one survived to tell them. Psychologists call this survival cognition. When death feels certain, the brain stops following rules and starts solving problems creatively. Thompson didn't think in steps. He thought in outcomes. Capture equals death. Flight